All right, guys. Thanks for joining today's KuCoin Fireside Chat with Zeta Markets. This is Tim, as always, the host for today's Twitter Space or X Space, and we have two guests with us here. Tom, who is a marketing contributor at Zeta Markets, as well as Imran, who is also a marketing contributor. However, Imran is having some technical issues. So let's start with Tom, just to so that we don't waste your time. And I know that everyone's busy, and appreciate everyone joining. So, Tom, why don't you start off with just an introduction to Zeta Markets first, and you can also um, tell the audience a little bit more about your background.
Sure thing. Yeah. So hey everyone, thanks for having us, obviously, Tim and KuCoin. Yeah, I'm Tombo, marketing contributor at Zeta. I've been with Zeta, yeah, coming up to like 3 years now. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. We've obviously been through all of the like ups and downs on Solana itself. And we also sort of done a few different things. So we won one of the very first sort of like, I guess, Solana hackathons. It was back in 2021. So we won that, but it was for what was kind of a very different product to what we have now in the sense that it was like focused heavily on options, which is like another type of derivative trading product. But yeah, we were probably a bit too early to that. So we've since sort of gone into perps. We had a bunch of success with that. And now we're sort of heads down building our what we think will be like a really, really bit of a game changer for us and for Solana itself, which is like the very first Solana sort of DeFi L2. So excited to jump into that more a bit later on. But yeah, I think hopefully that's a decent enough introduction. So I'll leave it there for now. But yeah, excited to be chatting with you all.
Awesome. I think Imran is here with us now. Imran, can you just unmute yourself and see if you can speak?
GM. Hi, I can hear you. But I think I heard Tom for a while, and then when I became speaker, then I cannot hear him speak anymore. So it's a bit weird, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's because he finished his introduction when you came on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't seem to hear Tom anymore.
Yeah, he's not speaking now. That's why.
All right.
Yeah. So how about take up the next question, right? So, but I'd also like to know how Zeta
Sure.
or you guys really decided to create, like, the reason behind creating Solana's first L2 and why it's needed for a blockchain like Solana.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So let's start first by asking ourselves why Solana? I think it's very clear with recent developments when they look at the number of builders, number of tokens, number of projects launched, number of users, amount of activity, and it's all just really mooning. You can definitely see that Solana is really destined to become the chain that actually onboards retail, right? So it's going to be leading mass adoption in a very big way. That's a big reason why we chose Solana, but there's still certain limitations to the network. So the block times will take 400 milliseconds. There are certain things like congestion, which are still, at least in the short to mid term, will continue affecting users. When you're a fully on-chain central limit order book exchange like ours, you will actually end up having our users being inconvenienced when there's actually congestion, right? So when congestion happens, then if you're a user, then the transaction failure rates go up, the transaction settlement times go up. You will end up also paying more in gas. So when you look at what is needed in order to bring an exchange and trading experience to parity, that means to be the same or better as central exchanges, then it's very natural that we want to figure out how do we do this in a way that can scale the network. And in our point of view, the L2 is going to be what really brings that forward. So when you have the L2, then you can actually have tens of thousands of TPS. You can bring the settlement time from 400 milliseconds to 5 milliseconds or 3 milliseconds. You have no congestion problems. You won't have failed transactions. When network congestion hits, you still be able to trade. You won't be affected by things like that. You won't have your take profit or stop loss not triggered, in times of congestion. So when you actually have a high frequency trading environment, when you're talking about leverage, then these kind of things become super, super important for the users. And scaling it via L2 is the way. And we strongly believe in it. In fact, when we rolled it out and we announced it, many people, including our Zeta community, in fact, many of the protocols are very interested. Our founders just appeared on like the Lightspeed and the Validated podcast. The Validated podcast is run by Solana themselves. So Solana, as a foundation, is also very interested in supporting this as well. So if you think about it, this is what is going to take to actually scale Solana to the point where when you use a dApp on Solana, it feels like a central exchange, but you actually have permissionless networks, you have decentralization, and then you have the ability to voice out as a community member via things like governance and governance rewards and forums and stuff like that. So I hope that answers the question.
Amazing. Yeah, it definitely does. But I think I like to also distinguish both Zeta markets as well as Zeta X. Can you elaborate a little bit more on Zeta X and how specifically ZEX as a token plays a role in the ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. Very simple. ZetaX will be our latest version of Zeta Markets as an exchange. So right now in Zeta Markets, we are in our V2. ZetaX, when we roll it out, it will be effectively a new version like a V3. It will be deployed on our layer 2. We will release more details about the layer 2. If anyone in this audience will be at Breakpoint, for example, in Singapore in the next month, we will be revealing ZetaX. We'll be sharing more about the L2. There'll be a lot of interesting updates that we'll share live on stage as well. If you look at the ZEX token, we TGE'd a couple of months ago. We have right now about 15,000 stakers of ZEX on Zeta Markets. This forms the base for our governance. So when we say we're community owned, when we say we'll be community driven, we will start off soon with governance. We'll provide some updates on the governance timeline and milestones very soon as well. And this actually provides a strong base to have community ownership, community voicing to discuss things like what should we deploy, what markets, what incentives, what rewards, what features, who should we partner with, so on and so forth, right? So this ZEX will be the central element of this. If you hold ZEX and you stake ZEX, you can be part of the governance. ZEX will also provide users rewards. So basically, you'll have ZEX distributed as an emission token. We're also cooking up for stakers basically the ability to enable certain benefits by holding and staking ZEX within Zeta Market. So I hope that answers the question. And Tom, if there's anything to jump in.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered it nicely there. I wouldn't want to add too much there, but I think essentially, yeah, the way that we're thinking about it is sort of as you would for any sort of L2 where, if you hold the token, then you can sort of try and get the benefits of holding it with any associated activity happening on that chain. Yeah.
Amazing. So I think just to give our listeners a little bit more context as to where you guys are currently, can you share any numbers in terms of either users, holders, trading volumes, or anything like that as of now?
Yeah, so we facilitated more than
And
11.
any metrics that will sort of just put more color into your success or progress so far.
Yeah, sure. So we've been live as a protocol for more than 3 years now. We actually have more than 11 billion facilitated trade volume lifetime. We have more than 120,000 traders that have traded on Zeta markets. When we ran the TGE and we airdrop users, I believe there were more than 80,000 addresses that actually received an airdrop. And you actually have, like I said earlier, about 15,000. So actually close to 20% of people that received the airdrop today are also now stakers. So if you look at all of that, those are some of the summary numbers, which offhand, I think so far it's a great journey. A lot of the volume that we've distributed came in the last half a year as we really built up a lot of product features. We really built up the community, got a lot of community support, got a lot of ecosystem support, and ramped up our announcements. Tom, anything to add?
Yeah, I think just to add to that, like what trading volumes, obviously, like when you're going through TG and airdrop stuff, like all your metrics across the board really like spike up. So we definitely had that. And now we've hit sort of like, I guess, a more stable patch. And we're excited to sort of ramp it back up again as we get sort of ZX, which is the L2 or Zeta X. As we get the L2 up and running. And obviously we'll have a bunch of stuff around Breakpoint in relation to that, including hopefully a demo like on testnet. Obviously, I don't think we'll get to mainnet just yet. But yeah, excited to sort of showcase that as well. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Cool. And then anything else on the product roadmap? Is there anything you can share with the listeners today about what you're working on? I know you mentioned that you have a few announcements coming up in Singapore. Is there anything else? Any other alpha you can share?
Yeah, I think if you look at what we're looking at with Zeta Markets, there's a bunch of stuff that we want to cook up with Zeta X, which will include things like multi-collateral. So right now you can use USDC as collateral, and multi-collateral just means you would be able to use, for example, your SOL, your BTC, and stuff like that. Maybe you want to hold your SOL and you want to continue accumulating it and ride the market wave and still use it as collateral to trade, we will be able to do so. We'll also enable a lot more things like higher leverage. We'll be looking at things like a lot more markets and also looking at some interesting new type of assets that will come in. So typically you would have certain tokens, cryptos that you can long or short on perps. And we'll be looking at some of the interesting new types of assets, including some like index assets and stuff like that, that would be a bit more exotic, a bit more different. You wouldn't see that on most other perps dexes. I think the other big one down the road obviously would be the L2. When you think about the L2, it's going to be a really huge undertaking by the team. There isn't an L2 on Solana Live. There are hundreds of EVM L2s. There isn't a single Solana L2, and we will be the first. So if you're thinking about, let's say, what is the bet here? Like what, no, how do I bet on Solana? What's the beta for Solana? If you think that Solana DeFi is going to make it, if you think that Solana is going to scale and you want to bet on Solana scaling, then I think that's probably something that you want to look out for, right? So when you think about what we need to do there, then there's a lot of stuff that we need to cook up in order for us to get to the point where we release out our testnet. Ideally, this will happen sometime at or right after breakpoint, and then the mainnet by the quarter after. Of course, when you build an L2, there's a lot of things that are going to go into it where you have to show that it works, and we're going to do that obviously with Zeta Markets and Zeta X, which is already a live product, which already has a live audience, there's already a certain level of PMF, there's already a certain level of volume and activity. And then if you think about it, then you can have super high performance dApps that are going to deploy there. Anything from lending, borrowing, launchpad, meme coin launchpads, prediction markets, anything that is around DeFi and you want it to be super high performance can be launched there. So that's something that right now under the hood the team is working for, and we'll be releasing a lot more details about this within the next quarter or so. So that's on the product side for the Zeta markets. That'll be on the L2 side for the L2, and then for people who are ZEX holders, in the scheme of all of this, as ZEX is the governance and utility token for Zeta markets, invariably our holders, our stakers will form an important component for all of this. So for the ZEX stakers, there will be something interesting for them when the L2 is revealed. Not gonna exactly announce or share exactly what it is now, but the ZEX stakers will be taken care of. So as the Zeta Markets platform grows, the ZEX holders will be taken care of as the L2 grows, and the L2 will be more than a perp stack. There will be multiple dApps that will be built on it. We'll be talking to many different protocols. We'll be talking to the foundation. We'll be talking to the community, and we'll be building the whole ecosystem around it. There will also be upside for the ZEX stakers there. And we are currently building the various mechanisms and utility to make this happen as well. So hope this gives some color towards that roadmap. As you can see, there's quite a few different kind of like roadmap work streams that we're working on right now as a very tight and really, not really small, but it's a very tight unit that we have.
Awesome. So, if listeners want to participate in either, joining your community or use your products and join the ecosystem, etc., can you give them I know you mentioned a lot of reasons earlier, but perhaps just summarize and reiterate why users should trade, stake, and participate within Zeta Markets.
Yeah, I'll give this to Tom. I think Tom, you can do that.
Yeah, definitely. I guess there are a few core reasons aside from what Imran sort of mentioned already. I think number one, if you haven't sort of used like a perps Dex on Solana, I think definitely give like Zeta a try. It's not perfect by any means. But it's like probably one of the fastest like fully on-chain trading experiences out there. Obviously, it's congestion issues aside, which is why we're building the L2. But there's that in and of itself. I think also like we have some pretty fun incentive programs happening now where, if you have no exposure to Zex itself, you can sort of trade. And any trading fees that you sort of get Zex back off of that. And then staking, yeah, candidly, like we haven't given many like public reasons for staking just yet. We did do like a big airdrop for stakers of Zex. I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago now. But we're working, so that's one of the work streams that we're going through now. Is it's like, all right, we have something like whatever it is, like 15,000, 16,000 stakers. So it's like, all right, what benefits can we give them? So obviously we're working through all of those work streams now. But generally, yeah, I think if you haven't used a perp stakes on like Solana yet, definitely worth a shot. And then if you're interested in getting, I guess, some exposure to Zex, then like trading is definitely and you can trade at the same time to do that, then yeah, probably a win-win situation. But yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and I think for those that haven't tried perps before, there is some risk to it. You have to understand how perps works, but you can basically leverage how the market goes up and down. And if you were to want to think on betting on the market going down, the price going down, and want to make money off the price going down, then really perps is one of your only options here. And I think that's something that's very interesting and unique. If you don't want to kind of bet your whole house on crypto and things, then you can put a certain portion for trading, and that's really what perps is for. You should really try doing that on Zeta. There is a difference between centralized servers and decentralized applications. And for us, we are fully on chain, meaning it is decentralized, it is on the Solana blockchain. Every transaction you make is not within a centralized server, it is on the blockchain. And it's there for anyone to verify, and the security of the blockchain is there as well. So if you haven't actually experienced fully on-chain trading, that's also something that you can check out. And I promise you that over the next few months, there'll be a lot of really interesting stuff for you guys to be part of. So you can check out the trading, you can check out the staking, you can join us on the Twitter and Discords. We have, every now and then fun little things like meme competitions, and we also have an ambassador program. We also have a creator program. So for those of you guys who are like wanting to, really up your meme game, or be an advocate and earn some rewards along the way, there are all these means for you guys to be involved and find ways to participate and earn and participate and get rewarded through this via doing this with the Zeta community. Yeah, I think back to you.
Yeah, sorry. I think we have a bit of a technical issue happening. But yeah, we'll go to like the next question. We have it written in the Telegram chat now. So it's quite funny. But yeah, can other builders and non-perp traders use Zeta Markets L2 when it is released? I'll pass it over to Imran. Yeah, sorry, it's a bit of an eat on rug.
This is whether other builders can build on our L2. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, so like I alluded to, when you build an L2, basically it's an infrastructure to scale Solana. It's going to be permissionless infrastructure. It's going to be, it's on a permissionless network of Solana. And if you think about all the DeFi primitives, there's a whole bunch, right? Like perps is just one kind of dApp that you can utilize in crypto, and there's just so many more. Like your DEX, like your AMMs, your CLMMs, you have your lending, your borrowing, you have like a token or meme launchpad, you have a perps DEX, obviously. Then you have things like liquid staking, restaking, liquid restaking, aggregator, LP management, prediction markets, vault and yield optimizers, NFTs, like whatever you want to build on Solana. If you want to compete with centralized servers, I think our L2 should be the place that any builder should consider to do so. I mean, the other alternative is a builder could try to build your own L2. But if you already have something that's already gone to market and already battle tested with Zeta, and we find ways to support our builders and work together and really be synergistic, yeah, why not, right? So I think that's the idea here. And I think, in that scenario, what we want to build is an ecosystem that really synergizes and supports each other, where when we pull users into the L2 while still being on Solana. So like, remember, Solana is pretty much a monolithic community. They've always been talking about Solana as a monolithic chain. But I think scaling is inevitable. But what we are really focused on, because we are Solana maxis, is that we will be able to scale Solana technologically, but without fragmenting the community, without turning builders on each other. If you look at what happened with EVM and all your parallel EVMs and your side chains and all all L1s who are EVM compatible, you start seeing a huge amount of infighting. And I think it's really important to really recognize that the Solana culture is quite different, and the builders that have gone through the whole FTX meltdown and Terra Luna meltdown and all of that, have actually come out very strong and unified. And as one of these guys that actually went through this whole bear period, Zeta is also a Solana maxi. And we are here to preserve that, right? So we will be actively working with the foundation to drive this narrative moving forward, to pull in builders who are interested to build the next world beating dApps on Solana together with Zeta and our L2. And I think it's going to be like super fun. So, Tom?
Uh,
I'm back, guys. Can
nice.
you hear me?
Yay,
We can
Tim.
indeed.
Yeah. So, I think that's a nice way to wrap it up. But before we end the space, well, Tom, did you have anything to add, or perhaps you can share where listeners here can find out more information about Zeta Markets and join the community?
Yeah, definitely. So we have most of our stuff in our Twitter bio. So if you go to at Zeta Markets, there should be links out where you'll be able to find links to our Discord, links to our Telegram, and then obviously a link to like our platform docs and the platform itself. So there's all of that. What else am I thinking? Yeah, and then obviously stay tuned for like a bunch of announcements coming out in the next few weeks. Especially yeah, I guess especially from like the Solana ecosystem as a whole, but we'll try and be like a pretty big part of that. as like Breakpoint ramps up, which is obviously always an exciting time for anyone in and around like the Solana community. So yeah,
So
stay tuned for all of that stuff.
if anyone spots us at token 2049 or Breakpoint, come and say hi. And if you can find me personally, I'll do my best to ensure that I'll pass you something to keep. Yeah.
Amazing. I will also be there, guys. So I hope to see you and at Token 2049. So awesome. So thanks again for joining. Any final words from you guys before we wrap it up? As always, this is not financial advice and only educational.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
like if you look at what Meow from Jupe says, like we really need to build with zero expectations. Everything in crypto is really an experiment. So if you are here and trying to experiment with crypto, everyone needs to understand that there's risk involved. But that said, why is there risk involved? Why are we here? At least for the builders like us, we're here to really change the world. We're here to basically tear down financial structures and rebuild them and build something that's accessible that gives you and me as common guys a chance to succeed as well. It's not we're not cock blocked. We're not held out in the inner circles of TradFi or things which in terms of background and stuff previously made it impossible for people to get a leg up or have economic mobility, right? So like I think this future is something that's very interesting, for those who are here. I mean, if you are here, that means you're still early, right? Because most of retail is not, most of the masses are not in here yet. So continue experimenting. For those who are interested in Zeta, jump on our Discord, jump on our TG and Twitter, ask lots of questions, test it out, give us lots of feedback because, like Tom says, it's not perfect, but what we are promising is that we are working our asses off day and night to make something really great long term. And I think for those who stick through with it and have their head on straight, you can come out stronger from it in many different ways. So I appreciate that, and just remember, if you are bullish on Solana and you are bullish on Solana scaling, then I think Zeta's something that you really got to check out. Hang in there with us, build it together with us, give us lots of feedback, and I think we can build that future. Tom?
Yeah, 100% echo that. Obviously, yeah. Again, not financial advice, but would love to have everyone on this call like within the Zeta community. And yeah, if any of you are at Breakpoint, definitely just like reach out to us on Discord or in the Telegram chat. Or we can try and meet in person, etc. Which is always super nice meeting people who like use the platform in person. So yeah, cool, excited, and yeah, thanks for having us, and thanks to everyone for joining and listening in.
Amazing. Thanks again, guys, and hope to see you there in person. Appreciate it, and have a great day, everyone.
Let's go. Bye bye.
Let's go. Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye, bye, bye.